A huge wave of patches are incoming, including TEK Engram Unlocks, Summer Bash event confirmed, and duping appears to be back. You're right kids, it's Ras Clark and welcome to your regular ARK Community news. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share around, and let's get into it. So a huge wave of patches came to PC last night and they're coming to console. It appears this might be next week, but it's good for you to hear what's coming as there are some great fixes inbound. And I'm going to give you the lowdown, so let's kick it off. Multiple TEK engrams were added to the Genesis Part 2 boss fight. Well, in some poor sense of irony, I did a guide yesterday on showing you what unlocks you get from the boss and revealed there were no TEK engram unlocks apart from the ones that are specific to Genesis Part 2. But the devs have rectified that and are now adding the replicator, teleporter, trough, force field, dedicated storage, armor, of course being the TEK helmet, chest, pants, boots, gauntlets, the TEK rifle, the TEK turret and the generator. And that's all it is so far. It's interesting that they haven't added any of the TEK building structures in this list. Of course you can get the building structures in drops, however with things like TEK doors, I'm pretty sure you have to unlock them to use them, despite you being able to place them. So currently you are restricted to these TEK items and the TEK structures you can build that aren't required to use in some form or other. That's apparently how it's going to be for now. Of course you can gain these TEK engrams on other maps and defeating those bosses, but if you're tied to Genesis Part 2, that's what you're looking at. The hover sail no longer falls in zero-G environments, of course being the space void. Didn't even know that was a thing, I never tried it, but apparently it was. But now you won't have to experience that anymore and you can go around doing all the tricks you want without falling in style. Net projectile ammo can finally be used underwater. I did a test on this recently where I went round trapping everything I could, and I did try underwater at the time and found out you couldn't trap anything underwater. Well, now you can, it can be done. So now you can trap all the sea creatures you want with a net projectile, and I might have to test this out. The mantis will now accept rhino horns because it needs to. If you didn't know, normally you would tame a mantis with deathworm horns, and of course there's no deathworm spawns on this map apart from in the missions, so there needed to be an alternative, and of course that's now rhino horns. What's interesting is now, can you do that on every map? Because mantis are OP. There's a lot of tips going around about using them to knock out stuff, and if you can use rhino horns now, it's going to be a lot easier to tame mantises. Noglins can no longer attach to babies. Why that was a thing, but good to know that's been fixed. There was a bug apparently whereby when you tamed a void widom, that's what I call them, I know nobody else does, that you wouldn't get any taming effectiveness. That never happened to me, but now you shouldn't have that bug anymore. So I might have another look at this in future and see how you guarantee the perfect 100% affinity tame. There were apparently a few visual and sound effects issues with the Void Worm. They've been resolved too. And the same with the Strider, as well as the weird glitch that would see you snapping away from it when you clicked on something in the pinwheel, which I found out the other day. There was also a bug whereby you could detach attachments from a Strider. You shouldn't be able to do that, so that's been resolved. And there was a big bug with taming the Strider whereby its effectiveness would go straight down to 0%, and that was it. And ironically, once again, it's like Wildcard watched my videos, I don't know, or the timing was very poor. I found a method that would work around that bug so you could still get your 100% taming affinity. So I guess it's still worth watching, and of course it wouldn't be a Ras Clark news vid without a plug. Link in the description. On top of that, Striders were apparently counting towards the global structure limit, whereby there's a specific amount of structures you're allowed on the map, and they were counting as that. But that's been taken out now. And a big one, they've improved the grace period on when you can hack the Strider to ensure you get the max affinity you can, especially on low frame rate servers. There were apparently some visual issues with certain items on the loadout mannequin. Kind of saw this one coming. TEK explosive arrows have been nerfed big time, so the damage they now do is reduced by 25%, and the speed of where they project is also reduced by 33%. So many issues with these and turrets being able to lock onto those arrows. I saw it coming before it came out, but there you go. Explosive arrows got a nerf. And the Astro Delphis got an even bigger nerf. It's really getting grinded down now. It's already had so many nerfs already, and there's even more coming. The laser damage has been reduced by 33%. The grenade bomb projectile speed has been reduced by 50%, and the lasers will no longer damage targets if it is encumbered. And there was apparently a case where homing projectiles were still damaging riders, and that's been resolved somewhat. The devs have acknowledged they're still trying to balance this out, and I think what they're doing is just heavily nerfing it until they've got the right spot on what this needs to be. There were even more server and client stalls and crashes that have now been resolved. They fixed a case whereby the animation wasn't working correctly when you net projectile something. There was a bug with space asteroid resources that they weren't respawning on transition. I actually sort of discovered this in my last Let's Play, and you'll see in the video on Sunday. Did a weird thing with my hand there. A big one, and I heard a lot of you talk about this, that you couldn't face the final boss on Gen Part 1. For some reason it just wasn't working, and finally the team have figured out how to resolve that, and you can now face the big bad VR meanie himself. There were a few exploits in missions that allowed you to keep the mission weapon longer than intended. Wish that worked for me in my mission Let's Play last night. Fixed a bug which allowed you to create loot caches that would expire in 10 seconds. That sounds pretty OP. They've removed even more things from the loot tables in drops and missions. Well, get on them quick before they get even more nerfed. I did a guide on what you can actually get in these, and since this guide they've slowly started to get nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. They were far too OP to begin with. I'm not surprised they are getting nerfed, so get on it quick. Get all the drops you can, all the drops. There were some text issues with mission objectives and descriptions. Those have all been resolved, and a case where some HLNO notes wouldn't unlock properly when activated. That's now been resolved as well. And so far that's it. I know there are so many more bugs to go through. Keep reporting them to the dev team through their bug report section. I'll leave a link to that in the description, and they'll work on it as soon as they can. They seem to be prioritizing the big ones and whittling their way down, but we are aware there are so many more bugs to get around. A big one, of course, being the breeding rates. With the last patch before this one, apparently it nerfed them, and I've since found out what it was. The timing rates went to 1 times, where your imprints are every 4 hours. Well, welcome to my world. This is what it was like back on Legacy. Back in my day. They are trying to resolve that 1 times breeding rate, and hopefully that will be resolved soon. And they are looking into how you can transport striders, specifically with cryos. I think they're going to implement cryoing them at some point, but it feels like we're way off that yet, and they're testing things to see if cryoing them is going to be an issue. It could be. I can see some advantages with that, but they are looking into that. And that about wraps up the patch notes so far. As I said, these are on PC, but they are coming to console soon, hopefully next week. It should be next week. But on top of that, an ARK Evo event is now active across all platforms. It's not been on Twitter. The only place they've announced this is in the Discord, which will be rolling until June the 21st with a bit of 2 times breeding, taming, harvesting, XP, all the 2 times you want. So you might be wondering why we've had no community crunch yet. What's going on? It's not out yet. Apparently the devs are still working on this, and it's going to drop later today. So lucky you, you're going to get 2 times news videos from me. But it's worth pointing out this is going to reveal the Summer Bash event. God knows what happened with the birthday anniversary event that was sort of on all platforms but never mentioned. But we're going to overlook that and go straight into Summer Bash. It's coming, and it's going to have some new additions. Apparently there's a cosmetic that Sed is very excited about, his all-time favourite. So expect some serious cheese. That's going to be my guess, and I probably will be on top of it as well. And that's it. That's all we know so far. But if they're announcing the Summer Bash this weekend, I'm going to assume this event may drop next week. Possibly. But details coming soon, and you might see another news video from me later about this. And there's another event surrounding the Summer Bash that I'm going to get into soon. Watch this space. And if you're wondering, there's going to be no new trailer for this event. Kind of expected. I didn't think after all the Gen 2 stuff that's going on, they're going to find the time to make a trailer for this. It's a shame. Last year's trailer was great. I love that Miami Vice vibe that I was going for with the last trailer, and it would have been cool to see a new one, but never mind. There's other trailers out there though, and I'm going to shout out someone in just a moment, so stick around. Quick note to anyone that's playing on maps with mods. Josh Hines, the gameplay programmer and mod community manager for ARK, put out a tweet highlighting this because a lot of people apparently are frustrated with the maps that have got mods. And it is worth noting all of these modders out there have no access to the dev kit of Gen Part 2 and able to integrate that to their new mod. Nobody has access to that yet, so nobody can do anything with their mods, and make them more compatible with Gen 2. But bear with, the dev kit will be coming to them at some point, and as soon as it does, I'm expecting a wealth of information to come out of that. I'm expecting so many things uncovered and deep in that dev kit, and I can't wait to get stuck in. And finally, duping. It's back apparently. I was very sure this had been resolved, that we had got past the duping thing. But a big ARK YouTuber out there, Bam, has been doing a lot of tweets about this recently, so much so, it definitely got my attention. And it's a real shame to see this. I certainly don't want to highlight the people that are doing it in this video, but if you see anyone duping, report it. Get it reported. That's the best way to tackle this. Said the community manager highlighted that the ticket team tells him that half of the people that write to him don't file tickets. So you must do that. I know it can seem so frustrating to log a ticket and wait weeks for a reply, but it's worth doing. Think of it like a little notch added to an amount of issues that needs to be there. There needs to be an acknowledgement of how many reports around something there are. And the only way that can be achieved is by you reporting through to them. I'll leave a link again to the Discord that gives you links to all of the report sections, and you really should get in touch with them. This needs to stop. I thought this was fixed years ago. This was the reason why Legacy was Legacy. Admittedly, I'm taking this on face value. You can't deny that that looks very suspect. And I know feeling frustrated and putting stuff out on Twitter helps to vent that frustration. That's not going to be the resolution. Yes, the community facing devs might see this and they might act on it, but that's going to be a rare occasion because that's not their jobs. They aren't the team that fix this stuff. The team that do the enforcement part and crack down on these type of people, you need to report through to. And that's how it works. So I can't stress it any more than this. Please do report through to Wildcard. And I know it's frustrating to wait, but it's worth it. And on that note, with so many big severe bugs and ways to lag servers, the devs are very much aware of this. And they've said they've learned so much and they're going to use this in future launches. Of course, ARK 2, they're going to make sure all of these lag frame rate issues that we find with ARK 1 are eradicated for ARK 2. And I do believe it to some extent that, recall, ARK 1, when that was first made, it was built with such a small team and wasn't really well optimized. And the team tried their best to make it more better, improved, more optimized around this game that was built on an old Unreal Engine to make it the game it is today. In fact, you've got to applaud Wildcard really, that despite their initial foundations, they've really kept this game up in the air. And I do believe with ARK 2, those mistakes, they don't want to do that again. They don't want that poor optimization. They've now got an experienced, better team that have learned the mistakes and hopefully are going to make ARK 2 a much more solid launch experience, I'm hoping. And finally, I'll leave you with a trailer from Maeve. I'll leave a link to him in my description. He has made a fantastic trailer on Gen 2. Go check it out. Maeve makes some fantastic trailers, and I don't want to reveal too much about this, combined with the wonderful musical score that he uses as well. It's worth a watch. Go check it out and go enjoy Gen 2. I hope you're enjoying it. Are you enjoying it? Drop a comment below, let me know. Are you excited for the new patches? Are you going to get the new TEK engrams that you can now get? I'll leave a guide in the description. My name's Ras Clark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.